Hey everyone, it's Jake Clark, John Schneider, and Eric Faldy on the podcast today. We're going to talk a lot about Lulzbot and Z18 MakerBot today. So behind me, we got in our MakerBot Z18 that came last Friday, so a couple days ago. And yeah, we've been working with it quite a bit. That's kind of been my deal for the last weekend and the last week is really working with that machine and getting it up to snuff. And there's a couple updates that we've done. One is this little bracket. I don't know if you can see it very well, but I'll have Eric take a picture of it. What this bracket does is it actually goes onto the Smart Extruder gantry on the top to actually hold the Smart Extruder in, so that sometimes it'll pop off or it just won't read correctly. So this locks it in there.
Well, and the big thing with that, so in the Z18 on the top of it, the way the filament guide tube goes up, there's a cover that goes over the top of the filament guide tube, and sometimes the filament guide tube will get caught on that, and then it'll try and pull the Smart Extruder off. The magnets are strong
right there. I think it's slightly you can maybe see it. It goes on top of the machine, and I actually looked at it, and you can see the guide tube coming out the top there.
That's one thing.
It's got a little bit of pressure against the top.
I took it off because I knew that it would push it right off, and whether and there's holes in the top of the lid, so that it's not keeping heat in. So we just took it off, and we haven't had issues at all with having the lid off. If anything, it stops the Smart Extruder from falling off, and I don't use the little flappy thing inside.
Oh, the little metal guide?
No, because that pulls it. That can pull the tube, and then all of a sudden it falls off.
Well, and that's something that I think we'll play with once we've had more time just getting successful prints off of the Z18. That way we can see, okay, does this actually affect something? Mainly so that we can say to other people that have a Z18, if you have an issue with your Smart Extruder or the tube guide being pulled, we can say, okay, is it actually that lid that's causing it, or is it the metal guide that holds the guide tube in place, or is it something completely different?
Yeah, and I just have our tube just pushing right to the top. I don't wind it in there. I just put it right to the top and be done with it. And then I also printed another a spool holder on the side of the machine, so that because when you have that filament going up through all that tubing, there's probably 2-3 feet of tubing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of friction on it, and when there's a lot of friction on that, it can what am I trying to say? It cannot go through the extruder. It's harder for the extruder to pull it.
Yeah.
Where on the side, I just have maybe it's 2 feet or 1 foot of tubing that it actually goes through. There's a little hole on the upper left hand side.
It's very odd watching you feed it because it's kind of in the bottom. Like I don't know how to. It's kind of like. Yeah, you pop it.
Yeah, it has a tray.
Little tray.
And you put it in here, then it goes up through here, and then it goes up and out. Where
so really, you probably have an extra.
It's a good 2 feet.
Extra 2.5 feet, 3 feet.
I'd say 3 feet compared to just having it loaded on the side.
On the side, yeah. Because there's a hole on the side that we just put it in, and it goes to the same spot.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to use that hole if you use the external filament case.
Yeah, the cart.
The
cart in the filament.
Well, because that holds your 5 and 10 pound spools, where this little spool holder only carries your 2 pound spools. So it's not going to work for your larger spools. But so we've been playing with that quite a bit, or I've been playing with that quite a bit this past weekend, this past week, and I've been getting some good prints. So I'll probably have next week. I'll probably have a little bit more of a review on it.
Try to print something really tall and see if we can
see if what we can do.
Yeah.
And so this actually came off of the box. I don't know why, but there's a patent.
It was on the top for some reason. It's really funny.
Did you see? There's actually a patent on this.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's
interesting.
Anyway.
Patent for a piece of cardboard to make sure you don't stack other boxes on top of that box.
I guess so. Like if this thing's squished, you'll kind of know that someone.
Obviously.
That makes sense, I suppose.
And we also got sparkly filament.
Yep, sparkly.
It's
is it
not
blue or purple?
as it's. I think it's sparkly blue. It's not as
sparkly dark blue.
I expected some more little flakes in there, but
I was expecting it to be a little bit more sparkly. We have our PR girl. She wanted some sparkly filament, so that's why we got it. It wasn't 3 dudes sitting around like, ooh, let's get some sparkly filament.
I think it's cool, but it's not. I guess it's something to do with like the infill, just the lighting probably, but it's not as sparkly as you'd maybe imagine.
Yeah. Well, it's also interesting too.
Is it more expensive?
Yes.
Yep.
It'd be like $10 more.
Well,
or
I think
something?
it's the same. I think it's the same cost as the translucent
Okay.
filament. So, at least for MakerBot stuff, a standard color. Ooh, fan turned on. Standard color is $48 for a spool, and translucent or the sparkly filaments are $65 per spool, because I guess there's that much more of an additive into making those colors happen.
The ones I would want to play with are they have 2 phosphorescents that are available through the MakerBot store, but I know it'd probably come out of my pocket, so maybe we'll wait on that.
Yeah. Eventually.
But, I mean, this is kind of interesting. It's actually, if you look, it's kind of bent a little
Yeah,
bit.
is that because of that?
I think that's from just holding the
Yeah,
is
smart
that from-
extruder. Yeah,
because I mean it holds the smart extruder in tight.
Is
Like,
that from
you have to
temperature maybe? Like
really have-
like a little
yeah,
bit melting?
it has to do with probably some of the heat coming off the bed.
I'm guessing
or
it's
off
pretty
the
hot.
chamber. Well, I mean, the chamber is about
How
30
close
degrees.
is that to the heat sink?
About this far.
Okay.
Yeah, about that far.
Yeah.
Couple inches, 2-3
You
inches.
said 30 Celsius, right? Like
30C. 30C is the chamber. So I mean,
I
that's.
think, what is that exactly?
Oh,
something
let's
I don't know.
see.
You got
Let's
technology.
see. I want to
Use
say
I always forget. It's close to
Use it.
100, but I don't remember how close
convert
or what end is it. What end it's on.
here. Convert Celsius.
Convert C to F.
Oh, not covert. That might be why Google
It's been
isn't
a
pulling
long
stuff
week.
up. So let's see. Celsius. You said 30 degrees.
Yeah.
All the math people and scientists are out there saying it's this hot. 86 degrees
Oh, it's
Fahrenheit.
cold.
So I mean, it doesn't really get too hot in the chamber.
But compared to, I think the Rep 2X goes to 112 Fahrenheit.
Oh, have you ever put put like a thermometer in there?
Yeah.
It seems like it would be hotter than that in there.
112, 115.
Although I suppose the bed is at 110
110
degrees Celsius. So
And the nozzles are at 250 and 230 C usually if
Yeah.
you're doing high impact
although
polystyrene.
the MakerBot stuff, well, not all MakerBot stuff, but the Replicator 2 and the 2X, their temperature gauges are about 20 degrees off. Like, they overestimate what the actual temperature is by about 20 degrees. That's one of the reasons that on a MakerBot, on a Replicator 2, you have your PLA set at 230 degrees. It's really printing probably closer to 200, 210. And with it's the same thing with ABS, because on every other printer, when you're printing in ABS, the standard temp is about 230, 235. On the 2X, it's, what did you say, is it 250?
No, it's 230.
What is 230?
250 for high impact polystyrene.
Okay, that's what that is.
So
Because then on the Lulzbot, high impact polystyrene prints at 230.
mm,
I don't know. It's like they're all a little bit different. They're all tuned a little
different
bit differently.
colors are different temperatures.
Well, it's like
too.
even on the Lulzbot, I had to the PID. I forget what that stands for, but it basically it controls how the thermometer reads the temperature, and it was off by just a little bit. So if I said, okay, start printing when the heated bed is at 85 degrees, the temperature would get up to about 84.9 degrees, and because it never hit that 85 degree mark, it wouldn't start. Well, that's because it was setting it to like 84.9 instead of actually setting it to a little. It was slightly off in how it was telling the printer to heat it up versus what it was reading it at. So went through, did an auto tune. It was super easy to fix. It just was inconvenient that it was not.
Did you say
working.
auto tune?
Yeah, like that's actually what it's called. It's called auto tuning the PID.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Nerd
Kind
alert.
of,
Well, and I don't know. I mean,
different kind of tuning.
now
than,
if we
like
had
T-Pain.
someone like Ryan in here, he'd be explaining exactly what all of that means and how it all works.
I should have him on the podcast sometime.
It would be pretty interesting. Yeah, because he'd go into the deep end of
He's the
of
software.
the electronics.
He's
stuff.
a software developer. Is that something like that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Programmer.
Programmer.
Yeah, he was in here earlier today. But yeah,
Okay.
I mean, sorry, I'm getting distracted.
I just know that you guys. Maybe I shouldn't say. He mentioned something about playing around with the Cube software.
Yeah, I don't know. He says he sees opportunities for how the Cube software could be better, and he's gonna see if he can try and make it better. I don't know. We'll see how that actually ends up working.
I think he
out.
has like 50 different projects he's working on.
Well, yeah, he's a busy guy.
yeah.
Yeah, he's an overly busy guy.
Good at what he does, though.
So I mean, that's the Z18. I don't know anything else. I mean, you're gonna know. We just got it in on Friday, and it's now Monday. So you've sort of had the weekend.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
you haven't been in the shop all weekend. I haven't been in the
no.
shop all weekend either.
It's been one of those weekends. It's
Yeah.
just, if you can't tell, we're a little tired.
Yeah.
It's been a long.
Last Friday was crazy. I think all of us. I was tired because
I was crabby.
I was
Let's
getting
just go there
I was
right
getting my
away.
computer
Yep.
fixed. I was up late.
crabby.
Yeah. Everyone in the office will agree Jake was crabby, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Because earlier that week on Monday, we were joking because you were in such a good mood on
know.
Monday. And you're like, oh, we didn't know how to handle good mood, Jake.
No, was it-
We're
was
used,
it-
we're used to be we're used to you being sort of in the middle, not really overly
Well, then
excited.
Katie had to talk about it.
Not
And I was like,
really
all right, well, I got to be more crabby then.
Oh,
I guess we
you
caught up.
overcorrected.
Yeah.
You overcorrected.
Oversteered. Oh no, we're in the ditch.
Yeah.
That reminds me that you guys went. I guess you did to
Yeah.
legislature
Yeah, how'd that
on.
go?
It went good. Yeah, so I was
Friday.
invited to go testify in front of the state legislature regarding some of the economic programs that the state of North Dakota has in place. So I talked a little bit about that, how it's really helped build more businesses in North Dakota, help diversify the economy. For those of you that don't know, North Dakota is very, very agriculture and energy focused. I mean, agriculture because, well, it's farming. I mean, it's been that way since forever. And energy because we have the oil boom happening out in the western half of the state. And the state of North Dakota wants to make sure that when oil crashes or all the crops burn up, that there are, to make sure that there are other sources of economic growth, so that it doesn't completely tank everything. So, yeah, that's what I got. I don't know. I mean, it was fine. It just kind of. It sucked a little bit.
So,
Because
the weather,
we
it
drove.
was ice.
Oh, it was like a skating rink.
That morning I came. So I live out of town. I live in Hawley, Minnesota, and I was coming in at like 3:30 in the morning to pick John up at like 4:30 from his apartment to go meet to carpool out there, and I get out of my driveway in Hawley, and it's just ice from Hawley all the way to Dilworth, which is about, I don't even know, 20 miles,
Something like that.
Something like that.
and it was just glare ice. I mean, I passed a car going 30 miles an hour, and I was like white knuckle driving, like, okay, make sure that they don't skid and I don't skid, and it was just. And then that's like, as I was driving, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go out there. I was like, if this is how the roads are gonna be like for 20 miles, I can't imagine what it's gonna be like for the rest of the trip.
Well, and the thing is, the interstates weren't bad. It was all the side roads.
No,
I
yeah.
mean side roads. Highway 10. Well, it's not exactly a side road, but it's not
the most
it's
traffic.
It's not
right.
an interstate.
Well, and
It's a highway.
especially that early in the morning, and some of the parking lots in town were literally skating
rinks.
rinks. I mean, people were taking ice skates out and going and playing hockey in the parking lots. I mean, it was
Why didn't we do
pretty
that?
bad. Well,
We could have
I was
dodged
gone.
trucks.
yeah. As the truck just jackknife and going around the curve by our
There's a
building.
video from, I don't know what state it was from, but
New Jersey.
that was a front page or a front of YouTube thing. That was
Yeah.
terrifying. The person in the car, absolutely silent.
Yeah,
It's oh, there it is.
Oh yeah, that's gonna hit me.
There's
yeah.
a semi hopping over the the median
How
and
did
going the wrong way.
Okay, how did we get on the wrong side of the median with this conversation?
Oh, I don't know.
Ooh,
Anyway, so back on track here.
So Z18 kind of covered that. We'll know more later. The Lulzbot Mini, we had the official launch for that on Thursday the 22nd. So, I mean, we have our Mini up and running, and well, it's not running now.
out of the
Otherwise,
shop,
otherwise
but-
you'd hear it.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, it's been working great. It's kind of interesting. I was just running the same print on the Lulzbot Mini
You gonna grab that little thing out of there?
right next to the.
am I gonna snap it or?
Oh,
not?
you should just be able to pull it off, or pull and twist. So I just printed a little chest pawn, printed it at standard settings on the Mini, and I also printed it at standard settings on the Taz. And the Mini did it in about half the time of the Taz. Exact same material, exact same model, and exact same program. Used Kira for both of them. So I think Kira is a little bit more optimized for the Lulzbot Mini, and I haven't tried printing this same model on the Lulzbot Taz using Slicer, because I know Lulzbot has tested. Well, they've tested the crap out of the profiles for Slicer. So I don't know. I'm gonna play around with that and see if there's still a speed difference. But the Mini's great. The auto leveling is, man, every printer's gonna have to have that in the next year. Like if there's not, I mean, if they don't have auto leveling of some sort, you might as well not even sell the printer, because it helps so much. I mean, I'm not exactly a new user, but I know when I had my first printer, one of the biggest things I had such a difficult time wrapping my head around was, okay, how to level the build plate. What does that actually mean? I mean,
What
now that
is friction?
yeah, I mean, now that I've been doing that for so long, I understand. Okay, this is how far the build or how far the nozzle needs to be from the build plate, and sometimes it was just impossible to get it, to get it perfectly level. You couldn't do it. On the Mini, it senses, it goes down, scrubs the nozzle off on a piece of felt to make sure that the nozzle is clean, and then it uses an electrical connection, so it has 4 washers, 1 in each corner of the build plate, and then when the nozzle touches the washer, it completes a circuit. So then it knows, okay, this is where it's at in space, and then it will automatically, as it's printing, compensate for any unevenness. So even if
So it's an active process.
right,
It doesn't-
it's
it
an
doesn't-
active process.
yeah.
So even though the build plate isn't 100% level to the nozzle or trammed to the nozzle, it is still able to print, and it's going to be able to print it perfect every time, even if it's mechanically uneven. So I think the only time that wouldn't work is if if your build plate wasn't flat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like if for some reason
If
for some reason you
bowed.
have either if it's bowed in the middle. So I know I think they're working on adding that self-leveling to the Taz, but from the sounds of it, it's anywhere from 4 to 6 months out. And part of the thing with the Taz is they're trying to figure out, because that borosilicate glass sometimes will either be raised slightly in the middle or it'll be bowed slightly in the middle. So they're trying to get a surface that's completely flat.
What is the reason for that?
Manufacturing
I mean,
process?
no. I mean,
Is it because of the
it
heated
might just.
stuff?
It's either going to be heat. So I can't remember if it ends up bowing upwards in the middle or bowing downwards. Because if it's bowing downwards, well, that's just gravity. It's basically a 12-inch by 12-inch piece of glass, and it's, from the looks of it, about 3/8 of an inch thick, something like that. So, or not 3/8. 1/8 of an inch.
3/16.
3/16. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
I was like, that is
it looks
not 3/8.
If there was 3/8,
quarter
if there
of
is
an
any
inch.
bowing, there's an issue. There's a major issue. But no, I mean, so they're going to be looking at adding that to the Taz, but that's still a ways off. What's not too far off is adding the same extruder that the Mini has, adding that as as an option, as an add-on
Upgrade.
for an upgrade for the Taz. Now the cool thing about having the extruder on the Mini, it's an all-metal hot end, so you're able to print in higher temperatures, and it has a better control of the temperature as well. So you're able to just print with a wider variety of materials. It's a nice hot end.
Yeah.
I mean, it does a really nice job. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Mini's been great. I'm looking forward to getting more time on it. This last week's been pretty busy, so yeah, I just haven't had as much time. Well, it's the same thing with you and the Z18.
Yeah,
I haven't had as much time to be working with them. I mean, if there's anything that's a downside about running a 3D printing business, it's that
You don't have time to play
you end up
around.
spending more time on the business side of things and not as much time doing printing and getting to work with the machines, because there's so
Yeah,
much.
we got a room full of machines, but yet it's like we barely touch them to do.
Yeah.
We do some we do custom printing, and then that's kind of the extent of where it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Speaking of custom printing, I know that you have something in your pocket, or you did if
Oh,
you don't.
yeah, no, it's still in my pocket.
You want to reach
So-
in there and grab it?
I'm okay.
So here's the thing. I've been thinking about getting a new phone for a while. I didn't want to have a phone that's too big. Like, I've been against the whole phablet thing for a while.
I like my
And,
iPhone 6 Plus.
I mean, I started out with, like many people
Here's
did,
my phone.
a Motorola Razr, so really small, compact phone that fits. We're talking back in the 2000s now. And then the first Android phone I had was the Motorola Droid, like the very first
Yeah.
Droid, which I think it had
I
maybe
have the Droid 4.
I think it had maybe a 3.7-inch screen, so it's not huge. It's just
It's about the same
that
size. It was
It's
probably a
pretty
little
close to the
bit
same
bigger.
size. Well, yeah. So
A little bigger than the deck of cards.
so the original Droid was about that size. So
I thought this was huge when I got
like
it.
you could easily be doing, operating your phone one-handed, and it easily fits in your pocket. Now the thing with phablets, and the iPhone 6 Plus is a good example of this. It's big. Like you can't holding it in your palm, you can't reach the upper if you're holding it with your right hand, you can't reach into the upper left-hand corner
Yeah.
of the screen. Now, phones that size, they have software adaptations, to help you with
like
that.
a self-assist or something.
Yeah.
You don't actually press on the home button. You actually lightly tap the home button, and like half your screen will
Right.
jump down.
But the reason that I've been looking at having a larger phone is being able to have 2 apps open side by side. So it's the same thing for me with having two. Well, see, for me, it's a big deal because
To me, it's just like
the
if
same
I'm
thing.
doing one thing on my phone, it better be one thing.
Well, no, like
I'm not
if
gonna be texting and Facebooking at the same
Well, no,
time.
no, I'm talking more like if I'm doing something in Evernote and I'm like if I'm making a blog post and I need to reference another web page, being able to do that, have the web page on one side and my note-taking app on the other side without having to switch back and forth. I mean, you can do it on Android, but
We'll come back 6 months later to see if he actually uses that.
yeah, well, we'll see. It's also just nice having a big screen. But anyway, to figure out if I'd be able to handle having a phone that size, I actually 3D printed. I 3D printed a blank Galaxy Note 4. So on Thingiverse, someone created a model of the Note 4, and it has the buttons that stick way out from the phone, so that when you're designing a case, it means that if you design a case around this, that it won't be getting in the way
You'll
of
have
anything.
the through hole that
Right,
you can make.
exactly. So I don't know. I've been carrying this around all day, and it seems
Yeah,
like
you
it's.
damn near you almost answered the phone.
You know the worst part is that I've thought I've received text messages while this is in my pocket.
It's that phantom.
It's the whole phantom
Yeah.
vibration thing going on. So I mean, it's maybe not the design use for a 3D printer, but it's certainly a use.
He's standing over here and he's waiting for Cure or something to heat up, and he's sitting there and he has this habit of taking his phone out,
Yeah,
no matter what,
everybody,
and
I think,
texting.
these days.
He takes out the green Lulzbot phone. He's like, oh,
It's like I can't read it from here.
What is this?
Yeah.
It's back in his
So I don't know.
pocket.
I think I mean I've been able to make it so far through the day. The one thing I don't know I'm going to be able to do with this phone, I don't know if I'm going to be able to put an OtterBox on it, because the phone I currently have is, so I have a HTC One M7, and I mean the phone itself is pretty sleek. It's not too large, but the case adds quite a bit of bulk to
See
it.
if they have a Lunatics case.
So, I mean, if you're looking at this,
It's gonna add another inch and a half.
yeah,
Almost.
yeah. So I mean, if I end up throwing an OtterBox onto a Note 4, I mean, we're talking. It's not a small thing at all to put. So I don't know. I might just print something in NinjaFlex, and just have it so if I drop it, the corners will at least be okay, and I'll throw a screen protector on it, of course. But I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's just another use of 3D printing. I don't know. I've thought about having a website up that prints blank, like just cell phone blanks. So if you want to get an idea of how it's going to feel in your pocket, I think Todd's here.
Is Todd here?
Is that Todd?
I'd like to buy a printer.
We've got a Swede, Todd the Swede, or Swede the Todd, Sweetie Todd.
I was coming there.
Oh man. So Todd, we were just talking about how I 3D printed the phone I'm thinking of getting, to
And
see
he
how-
almost answered a call on it once.
yeah, to see how I like having it in my pocket. To see if
Pop
it'll fit.
squat.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's I think it's a go. But
We'll check from the finance department.
yeah, for the finance.
Did you fill out the form yet? There's
No, I
like an
haven't- I haven't
8-page
filled out the
form that you
form.
need to fill out.
But what else were we going to talk about today?
There were more things.
don't
We do
know.
have.
We were just talking about printers, I
We
guess.
talked about this for a while.
Our 5th gen is 6, so that's going back to MakerBot, and we should
What's
have that.
wrong with it?
So it won't level. Like there's something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they sent out a new Smart Extruder. They sent out a new Z stage, and that's still not fixing it. And it's physically, like if you get down and look at it from the side, there's no way to make it so that it's level. So they're gonna take it in. Something must be out of adjustment. I think it probably happened when we were going to and from the trade shows, because it did print well at one point, and it's not our go-to printer right now. So it's not like I would be going to the printer and noticing when something went wrong. We just have it at trade shows for doing demos and stuff. But I think after the last one, I don't know, just didn't like riding in the back of a trailer.
Well, I would imagine not. I mean, it's gone to Seattle and Chicago and Santa Clara and Colorado and Nashville, and
Yeah, it's very well traveled.
Maybe it wants to be in the front seat.
yeah, maybe you should have been in the trailer.
Yeah, it's just throwing a tantrum. It's protest. Yeah.
Silent protest.
So
I
I don't
got
know.
nothing.
I mean, I think that's pretty much it.
I mean-
New website. So the new website, I think we talked about last week that we wanted to have it live. It did go live. Not too many things have broken. There have been a few things that have broken, but I've
You work on it, I
so
know.
far I've gone in and fixed them. So if you want to check out the new site and let us know how you like it. or if you don't like it, or things that you missed from the original site. I know we already had one really well. We've had a few really good pieces of feedback from people that are regular visitors to the site. Initially, I had a big. Well, when you go to the site now, it'll say we make 3D printing easy, or we help make 3D printing easy or easier, something like that.
How do you?
Anyway,
on this website.
I know. Anyway, that slider, it used to take up, or that image, it used to fill the screen, and now it doesn't fill the screen. At least not on desktop. I think on. Well, yeah, because I'm looking at Jake, and he's on his iPad, and it's in landscape mode. Yeah.
You're in landscape.
But
mode.
anyway, stuff like that. And then on the product pages, we have there's a product filter, so you can actually filter products as you're looking at them. So if you're looking at filament, you can filter by what printer it's compatible with. You can drill down into it based on color, that kind of stuff. But he had a suggestion for how to make that work better, and that's pretty much what I have. So yeah, check the site out. Let us know if it's working or not working. And something else we brought up last week too, we're thinking about having Fargo 3D printing t-shirts made. Well, I mean, we've already had them made for ourselves, but we're thinking about...
Can I go sleep?
I turned it around.
Oh, sorry.
You'd interrupt.
I was like...
But we're thinking of making the shirts available for purchase. If that's something that you think is worth your $15, let us know. If we have enough people that really want Fargo 3D printing shirts, we can make it happen.
And I know that Todd said something about tie-dye, and my ears perked a little bit.
Yeah.
I actually photoshopped it. One day we did a family group photo, and I was wearing a Bob Marley shirt and just standing on the side. And we had to redo it because it was too noisy. I had to stand in the back because it was too much.
Well, I'm wearing a GrabCAD t-shirt today.
What is
So GrabCAD
really
is
use
like
that too
I don't know how to. It's like the Thingiverse for engineers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where
like
you can go
real
there,
things, not toys and trinkets, but
Yeah,
real
real
assemblies
mechanical
and
thing.
models.
Okay.
and there's a bunch of different. There's competitions out there, where it's like, oh, have a competition to do this, and you're like, oh, okay, and then yeah, it's kind of fun. But I mean, I've entered in a couple competitions. Didn't win, but I mean, I didn't try too hard.
Okay.
But I mean, last time I checked was a couple weeks ago. They didn't have any competition challenges. But I know they
Is it
usually
just
do.
grabcad.com?
Well, see, yeah, I believe so.
Doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
We'll put that up.
I want to show you.
It's like a Google thing you can use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started.
I know.
Don't even get me started on
But what was I gonna say? Oh, it was a GE, the bracket that they 3D printed in metal. The competition is actually held on GrabCAD. So there's this one bracket out there that GE was like, hey, community, redesign this and make this better, make this more efficient. It's gonna be for 3D printing, and then I think they had like 400 plus
Wow.
applications, and the winner got like $20,000, and the thing was 3D printed out of metal. So that's a big one in the aerospace industry that GrabCAD has hosted. And I mean, I've been a member of that site for 4 years,
Okay.
3 years, and they've grown quite a bit. And I think, who bought them? Did Stratasys buy them? Somebody bought them.
I think Stratasys is either Stratasys or Autodesk.
No, I don't think Autodesk bought them.
I think it was Stratasys.
I think.
Hold on, let's ask Siri.
I just. Oh.
Siri, who bought GrabCAD?
Searching.
No, this is gonna be bad.
I didn't find any CAD systems and services
See,
companies.
Siri is just not good.
Oh, you're not good. You don't know
I
how to do
remember
it.
it. I
You gotta
remember
type it in.
Android's better.
You gotta type it in.
Remember during
I don't wanna type
you guys
in.
talking that it's the 20th episode of the podcast. We should have said it at the beginning, but it's the 20th episode.
That's the 20th.
We're gonna do something
Stratasys.
special.
Stratasys.
And we
So,
forgot.
Stratasys bought GrabCAD.
And on that note, I think that's all we have for this week.
Todd, do you have anything?
I got nothing.
We have a couple videos. In
Todd's
the,
coming full time in the next
I
couple
am
weeks.
coming full time in the next couple weeks.
That's something to celebrate.
Yeah, episode 20 of the podcast. 1 year in business. Todd coming in
Coming on.
full time.
Yep.
Z18.
Yep.
Lulzbot Mini.
Bunch
we
of big
have
stuff going on.
We have some in stock, so get on there, order some if you guys want them. We can ship them out next day.
We have some
Well, not
unboxing
next
videos
day, but-
coming up. So we have an unboxing video of the Lulzbot, the Cube 3, and the Z18.
Yeah, and then we're gonna have kind of a feature video on the Lulzbot Mini 2, going through more of the kind going through more of the auto leveling stuff because it's pretty cool how it does it. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth watching. So we should have that up.
I think we have it somewhere, but we're going to make it more concise.
Well,
Like,
we
hey,
have-
here's a lot of the Lulzbot stuff, not just like little random clips in the
we
podcast.
have some stuff on our Instagram
yeah.
account. Actually, we've done a few little things. So hopefully that'll be up by the time the podcast is up. Maybe it's not. I don't know. If not, then next week. So on behalf of Todd, Jake, Eric, and myself, thanks for watching us or listening to us again this week. If you haven't already, subscribe to us on iTunes or YouTube. Follow us on Facebook or on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Google+. We're on all that stuff. So basically your social...
Everywhere you go.
Basically your social network of choice.
We don't have a
Just
Zanga or a
follow us.
MySpace, but Zanga is some old school stuff.
I don't know, MySpace we could probably do...
MySpace is back.
Well, MySpace
It's
is
different.
it's music centered,
it's a music
so
thing.
we can start we can just start making music with
yes.
the 3D printers. Have a whole channel
Doom,
dedicated
doom,
to.
doom, 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 doom.
So all right. So on behalf of all of us, again, thanks for watching.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, hey.
All right.
Ow.
A little difficult.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. This is how you know this was not rehearsed. This is live.